Once upon a time, a king summoned his sons and announced, "I'm getting old. Soon I will die. My kingdom will be yours. But first, each of you must do something for me." The eldest son, obedient and loyal, asked, "What must I do?" The king smiled. "Go to the market and bring me the best horse in the city." He did as he was told and returned with a magnificent steed. "Good," said the king. "Tomorrow, take this horse, ride out of the city, and when you meet a beautiful princess, ask her to marry you." So the next day he mounted the horse and rode until he found a princess tending her garden. He introduced himself, asked for her hand, and she agreed. Together, they returned to the king, who welcomed his future daughter-in-law and said to the son, "You did well. Now your brother will come." When the second son appeared, the king repeated the task. He went to the market, picked out the finest elephant, rode it out of the city, and found a beautiful queen tending her garden. He asked for her hand, and she accepted. With the queen by his side, he returned to the king. The king rejoiced, but remarked, "Your youngest brother is different. He won't do what we ask." The second son warned, "Don't be fooled by appearances, father. I know my youngest brother. He'll never fulfill your wish." But the king insisted. The third son, rebellious and wild, heard his brother's plan and laughed. "Do they think I'm as predictable as they are?" he thought. "They'll see how wrong they are." The king gave him a donkey. The youngest son didn't complain, didn't argue, didn't make a fuss. He simply rode the donkey out of the city. Chapter 4. Journey of discontent riding through the countryside. He kept thinking how he could possibly get the upper hand. Suddenly, he spotted a large army approaching. They were huge, intimidating, and advancing steadily towards the city. He quickly hid nearby. They passed right by him, unaware of his presence. The rebel king noticed something unusual in their leader. Despite being handsome, brave, and charismatic, something about him bothered the prince. He couldn't put his finger on it, but he felt compelled to know more. Chapter 5. Unveiling envy, as night fell, the prince decided to sneak closer to the camp. To his surprise, he found the leader, Prince Amara, sitting alone under the stars. Hesitantly, the prince approached him and inquired about his mission. Impressed by the young man's audacity and curiosity, Amara revealed their plan to conquer the neighboring kingdom, ruled by the three princesses. Intrigued and concerned, the prince asked why. "I want to be the most powerful ruler in the world," Amara admitted, driven by envy. "I see everyone praising my late father, the great Emperor Darius. No one talks about me. I want to build my own legacy." The prince felt a pang of sympathy. "But you already have one. You're strong, respected, and loved by your people. You don't need another kingdom." Amara shook his head. "It won't be enough until I sit on the throne of the neighboring kingdom. That's where the true power lies." As dawn broke, the prince had to leave. Before departing, Amara offered him a choice. "Join us and claim half the conquered kingdom, or stay loyal to your father and lose." The prince, torn between loyalty and ambition, knew he had to decide fast. Chapter 6. A delicate balance. The rebel king, upon returning home, the prince found himself caught in a web of deceit and betrayal. His brothers, envious of his closeness to the king, had poisoned his father's mind against him. Accused of insubordination and disrespect, the prince was stripped of his title and banished from the kingdom. Heartbroken but resolute, the prince knew he couldn't expose his brother's treachery. Revealing their plot would only solidify their grip on the kingdom and their hold on their father. Instead, he made a vow. He would prove himself worthy of the kingdom. He would outshine his brothers without their help. With nothing but his wits and determination, the prince embarked on a new mission. He ventured into the forest to seek the legendary hermit, a man rumored to possess wisdom beyond measure. The hermit listened patiently to the prince's tale of woe and envy, and when the prince spoke of his brother's treacherous deeds, a knowing smile touched his lips. "Ah, so you have encountered the serpents in your garden," he said, "but you cannot kill them with force. You must starve them with your achievements." The hermit's words echoed in the prince's mind. He realized that trying to confront his brothers directly would only bring more pain. Instead, he would excel, not for revenge, but to prove his worth. His brother's envy would become their downfall. Chapter 7. Success and betrayal years turned into decades. The prince, now a successful king in his own right, had proven the hermit's words. His brother's envy had withered away their happiness. Meanwhile, Amara's army grew stronger, amassing thousands of troops. Yet something was missing. Despite his power and possessions, Amara remained discontented. He looked out over his vast army and realized he lacked true friends. Those around him were only loyal to their own self-interest, not to him. Chapter 8. A new alliance as Amara prepared to invade the neighboring kingdom. He sent a message to the rebel king, proposing an alliance. We will rule over the neighboring kingdom together. But the rebel king saw through Amara's facade. He sensed envy and desperation beneath the proposal. Still, he knew he couldn't face Amara's army alone. He sent out invitations to all the kingdoms, asking for aid, not for conquest, but for defense. Allies arrived from distant lands, drawn by the rebel king's reputation for justice and fairness. On the day of the battle, two armies faced off, each believing they were fighting for a greater cause. The rebel king and Amara were in the thick of the fight. They clashed in a duel, each determined to prove their strength. But the rebel king remembered the hermit's words. He fought not out of envy or anger, but to protect his hard-earned kingdom. Slowly, Amara's resolve crumbled. He saw the genuine camaraderie among the rebel king's soldiers. Envy gnawed at him, turning his strength against him. The rebel king, fueled by righteous anger and sorrow for his fallen friends, gained the upper hand. Chapter 9. Confronting envy with a final cry, Amara fell. The battle was won. But instead of gloating, the rebel king rushed to Amara's side. He helped him up and said, "Why do this? What did my father ever do to you?" Amara looked at him, defeated and ashamed. "I wanted to be the greatest king because I thought it would make me happy. But I see now that I was wrong. You are a true king. You have achieved greatness not by conquering others, but by winning their hearts. I envy you, not your kingdom." The rebel king understood. Envy wasn't always about malice. Sometimes it was about ignorance. He offered Amara a place by his side, not as a conqueror, but as a friend. Together, they rebuilt the neighboring kingdom, not as conquerors, but as friends. Over time, they became the most powerful and beloved kings in the land. No, not for their wealth or land, but for their wisdom and kindness. Their story became a legend, a reminder that true greatness lies not in what you have, but in who you are.